YouTube channel as well?
Yes.
Okay, because my husband's looking on there.
Welcome everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Driven Warrior podcast. Today we have Ashlan. Ashlan is a driven warrior by definition. I'm excited to tell you more about her and Ashlan. Thank you for being here and sharing your story. I know it's a little bit out of your comfort zone, but did you go into like a little sauna or something for the?
No, this is my house. I live in a barn.
That's the dream.
Yeah.
That's the dream. Okay, so Ashlan, tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do, family life and barn life maybe.
Okay, I'm a mom. I just recently became a mom. I have a toddler, almost 2. I'm married, live with my pets and my family. Actually, we all live on acreage together, so I have a really good support system. And right now I'm just working part-time. I just got back into the workforce after mat leave, basically. And my dream is to go to mortuary school, which is a bit weird, but yeah.
Tell me about that. Like, where did that come from?
I've always been a little bit morbid with my sense of humor, I guess. And then I'll get into it a bit more, but my brother passed away, and just the way that we were dealt with made me realize that, this is the last nice thing you can do for someone. It's the only thing you can do to help them try and get that closure. And I just want to be a part of that for people.
Oh, wow. All right. So tell me, I know that we're going to get into that because I think that had to do with eventually you finding driven, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So tell me a little bit about what the year leading up to you starting with us was like, because you said you were coming out of one of the hardest, if not the hardest year of your life, right? So what did that look like?
So 2018 was pretty bad because I had hyperemesis gravidarum during my pregnancy. So I was throwing up 30, 40 times a day. I was still happy, but so I didn't actually gain a lot of weight from my pregnancy per se. But then I had my baby at the beginning of the year in January, and my brother was just declared cancer free after being diagnosed in June, and everything was happy for about 2 months. March rolls around and we find out that it's back. His cancer was back with a vengeance. He was 39 years old and a bodybuilder, like just super, super fit. He was 256 pounds or something like that.
Wow.
And like I said, I live on the same property as my parents, and I was able to move in with my parents to give up my home for them. So I essentially became homeless with a new baby. My husband was working away a lot at the time. And then sorry, I'm going to try and keep it under wraps, but it was a really hard year. In June, we found out that he wasn't able to have the surgery, and in the middle of August, he was gone. And the same day the same day that he died was the same day that he's my brother-in-law's best friend, but somebody that my husband grew up with was hit and killed in a hit and run. And there's still no the same day. So my husband wasn't able to be there for me the way he normally would have been.
Yeah.
And then, much less dramatic, but in October, I had to put down the dog that I had since I was 12, and we were still homeless. Living with my parents, but still not in a house of our own. So there was a lot of tension in our marriage. And finally, December, I'm like, that's it. I can't do this anymore. We're going to go find our own place. So we went and found our own place for 6 months. And that was the start of the best decision I ever made. Because getting my own place, it got really bad for a little while. Eating wise, I was definitely using food as a crutch. It was never one cookie or even 2 cookies. It was 4, 5, 6 cookies, and then cake after that, and then lunch, and and I just noticed. You just kind of start to notice. I went to go buy new pants, and they were a size 12, which I know doesn't sound drastic for anybody, but I've always been a 6 or an 8. Like, in between there. I very rarely had a hard time keeping weight off, and just having to deal with all of those emotions definitely, made me pack the weight on.
Yeah. And so tell me a little bit about that. I mean, obviously, grief is a huge challenge, right? Because there's always, there's multiple angles from which you can come at it from, but ultimately, it kind of weighs you down, and there's not much you can do. So, was he your older brother, your younger brother, and
He was
how?
my oldest brother. I'm 4 of 5 kids.
Mm,
And he, he was we were close.
yeah,
It's still surreal to me sometimes that I can't just send him a text message and he won't say "love you too, sis" back. Like,
yeah,
it's bizarre. It's So it was a lot of getting in my head. Like, I started to become like afraid of leaving the house and that sort of thing. Like, just worried about bad things happening to me. And that also didn't help my marriage, as well as living in a house
yeah.
with my parents and with a new baby and trying to figure all of that out. And so it was just, everything kind of seemed to be compounded.
So all of a sudden, food became the way with which you coped with all of this, right?
Definitely. Yeah,
Um,
sweet things for sure, like cake. And my mom, I think that part of the way that she was dealing with it was like, well, I've said a few times on the Driven page that I associate family and love with eating copious
right.
amounts of food.
Yeah.
So my mom was making cookies, cakes, all these things throughout the year
Yeah.
in mass quantities, and I was there to eat them. So
That's a very relevant subject, because Thanksgiving and then the holiday season and all that, um, food is a huge part of it, right? I
yeah.
mean, you're happy, you celebrate with food. You're sad, okay, well, here, maybe have some of this to help. Like,
Hmm.
it's so that's tricky for sure. So tell me about you before we get on the phone, because you and I spoke, and that was the beginning of your journey with Driven. But up till before that, what was the what were the emotions? What did you want to change? Like, what was your state before you started?
So I had lost about 15 pounds on my own. I joined that Noom that's advertised everywhere, and it
Yeah,
was okay. It was a little bit unpersonal for me. Um, but and I was doing like DVD workouts
yeah.
and trying to watch what I ate, but not too much. And then for just a month, I just slowly started to creep back up. It was just
Mm,
not working anymore. And then I saw that Driven was Nanaimo based, and I really wanted to support a local gym instead of some company in, I think, Miami.
yeah,
And that it was 21 days that you could just try it out. And then
yeah.
after that, yeah. And I just, I was just tired of being sad all the time. And I was honestly sad. It's changing for this way. Changing for me has been such a huge antidepressant for me. And like, I
Mm.
want to caveat that by saying it obviously doesn't work for everyone, but it certainly worked for me.
Yeah, hey.
Yeah.
So you were already working out. Was this like, since you started doing those workouts, those DVD workouts and that Noom, um, was that your first time basically trying to take on fitness, or was that already
No, I had done weightlifting with a friend in the past, but I was eating crappy food, whatever I wanted, because I didn't have problems keeping the weight off.
right?
I am not as like, I did that for 2 years and then I just stopped, and then I would run for a month and then I would stop, and nothing has ever been this consistent. Like, the 2 years that I was weightlifting was very off and on. I would go to the
Mm,
gym some months and not other months. And yeah, this has been the longest. And I've also noticed, like, I'm not lifting the weights that I was back then by the time I quit weightlifting the first time, but I'm getting stronger so much exponentially faster.
yeah,
Consistency.
consistency is a big deal.
Yeah.
And so tell me about uh, when you and I are on the phone. and so imagine from my side, right? Because you're obviously showing up and you're telling me my brother passed away, like, and then yeah, you're like, you just gave me like your two or three biggest challenges, and I was like, oh my god, and she's got a baby, and and I mean, obviously, I knew that this could be a really good framework to help you prioritize yourself and regain control. But obviously, I knew that you didn't. At the beginning, coming in, what were your hesitations, perhaps? Did you have any hesitations when you heard? Because I mean, it's not cheap. I mean, going with
Yeah.
new is whatever, like probably like either free or like next to nothing, right?
Oh, they're very sneaky. They
Oh yeah,
jack the
free.
price
Then once
up
you're
pretty
in, you're
quick.
like,
Yeah. And I don't feel
uh,
like I got the value that I'm getting for sure. And also, again, I'd rather help a local family succeed than some corporation. But yeah, I wasn't hesitant in because you laid it out on the phone. You said, I'm not going to be giving you anything new. This isn't going to be an easy walk in the park. I'm not going to give you new science or anything like that. We know what works. You know what works. You've already lost the 15 pounds. It's just providing that support system to keep you accountable to that in a way that family, I think, is scared to.
yeah.
They don't want to hurt your feelings and all that sort of stuff, right? Not that Natalie's ever hurt my feelings, but yeah, so I was more, my one hesitation is I've always gotten in my own way, and I was worried that I was going to do that again. I was going to find some excuse to not do it.
Mhm. So there's always there's always two. There's usually two or three sets of challenges that you can see from your side. And when I'm on the phone with you or with someone and they're considering signing up, it's the challenges that I need to help you overcome is figuring out first if you trust me, because if you don't trust me, it'll never work, right? Um, but then is, do you trust that this can work? Do you trust that the approach can work for you? Because it's very common for people to say, well, maybe that worked for her, but it won't work for me.
Mm-hmm.
So that was one, and then the other is, okay, now if you believe that it can work for you, do you believe that you can do your part? And that's really tricky.
Mm-hmm.
So what did you use to help you overcome those questions, perhaps?
Honestly, I was quiet for about the first week, but yeah, I threw myself into the process. I really liked Natalie right away. And the first
So
week I
let's
lost 4 pounds, and then I
maybe
posted it.
let's maybe just for our listeners and viewers, Natalie is one of our amazing coaches, and she's been working with Ashlan one on one, and you guys were a match made in heaven.
Yeah.
Uh, so tell me, when you first met her, because you and I speak on the phone, and
Yeah.
I'm like, great, I think you're going to be a great fit with Natalie. You guys are going to have a video call, chat, and go from there. How was like? What were your first impressions after that call?
um she she I don't want to say lay down the law, but she was like, this is how it's gonna go, and you're gonna do it, and you're gonna do great. I'm like, okay.
Nice. That's
So
practice, right? Sometimes we
yeah,
need, like, to know what's happening when.
I was thinking about it today while I was working out, because it was Thanksgiving. I've had a interesting weekend food wise.
Yeah.
um she is a constant when my life is dynamic. Like, I can always send her a message, and I know that the next day, if not sooner, but the next day, she's going to send me some sort of answer, like whether it's encouragement or answering my question about my form or anything like that, or like, hey, here's a tip for how to get the right protein macros for the day and that sort of
Yeah.
thing. Like, she's there. She's a constant. So yeah. I think that's been one of the big things that's made this work this time.
Yeah. And so you were just telling me just before we went live that that one of the things that your partner said before we signed up was hey, like, if you don't have to, don't give him your credit card number. Which is,
Yeah.
hey, like, legit. Those are, I mean, there's so many ways in which you can get screwed. Of course, we've all been through stuff like that. So it's smart to be on the lookout, right?
Yeah.
Let's put it that way. Now, so for you, what made you think, yes, this is definitely the right fit, and so much so that even though he told me not to,
I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
Because I have to tell you, I was sitting on the couch when I called you, and he was standing behind me going,
what did we say?
Yeah.
About this?
It was honestly you, when you said, okay, it's this 21 days free. After that, it's this much if you just want to do the 21 days and not sign up for a set time, this, and this.
Mhm.
I'm not going to bullshit you. It's, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. And also you telling me about your story about, I've never seen in my experience, I'm sure that they're out there, but I've never seen a family-run business for personal training that was so open about the fact that they had struggles with weight too. Most of them you see, they're people that played basketball and football and all that sort of stuff in high school. They've been fit their whole lives, telling people like me who've never done any of that, dropped out of gym as soon as I could,
Right.
how to make this part of their lifestyle.
Yeah.
So it was talking to you and realizing you're a human being.
Yeah.
And not just somebody out for my money.
That's interesting because, I mean, obviously, so for our listeners that are not members of Driven, we have a private Facebook group where we all hang out, and obviously in there, we're always sharing, tips and strategies and mindset stuff and motivation and you name it. But so I've shared with you and with our members, even more in-depth personal stuff, right? About myself, my family, and everything. And one of the things that is hard to navigate from this point of view is every once in a while, there's a little voice in my head that is like, shouldn't you be in better shape? Like, and it's just like a little asshole of a voice, and I'm like, what? Why go there? Like, but yeah, that little asshole friend always lives there, and it's not always loud, but I just love sharing those kind of things with you guys because I don't want you to ever think or feel, oh, well, Miguel maybe lost that weight, or maybe he's always motivated, or there's something special about him, because that's complete BS, right? But I'm glad to know that openness made a difference for you.
Definitely. And people that think that maybe trainers should be in personal shape should look at power lifters and stuff in the off season. It's not sustainable.
Totally. Yeah,
exactly. That's the other thing that in the conversation that we had is you talked about this, we make this sustainable. This has to be a long-term thing for you. And that's not like all these other programs like Noom. Their big ads are, you can lose this much weight in this many days. And okay, where does that leave me a year from now when I'm sitting on the couch eating a box of cookies?
Yeah. So then, it's crazy because what really captures attention and what really captures eyes is not the boring stuff. It's the boring stuff that actually works, but it's definitely tricky because, if if I could literally just say to people, and I do, just track your food. And even if you're doing it horribly wrong, you're probably going to, see some progress compared to where you're at today. But like, people are going to be like, oh, really? That's what you have to say to me.
Yeah.
You know,
It's
so it's
it's
always,
true though.
it
There's
is
a
true.
reason it works. You don't
Yeah.
realize, oh my God, there's X amount of calories in a whole avocado that I put on my healthy bread this morning.
Yeah.
Like,
You can eat
you
super
don't
healthy, but you can
overdo
back
it.
off the calories.
Yeah.
Um, so for you, you started working with Natalie, and what made the whole program a good fit for you? Because there's a few different aspects of it. There's the fitness, there's the nutrition, there's the accountability, there's the support of the group, and then there's the one-on-one. Like, what did it for you?
Um, I started when I was still emotionally healing, so still kind of afraid to leave my house. And I only had free weights up to 8 pounds and a yoga mat. That's all I had. And
Yeah.
Natalie's like, no problem. Here's a workout for you. When are you going to do it? When are you going to do it? It's, yeah, just her being, she, I don't want to say nag is the wrong word. Her being consistently on my case for those first few weeks so that it's only hard work until it becomes a habit, is
Right.
how I feel about working out. And yeah, okay, well, you're going camping. All right, we'll change all of your strength workouts to HIIT workouts that you can do. Literally, I had a plastic mat on gravel in a provincial campground doing my HIIT
Really?
workouts. Yeah. And it, yeah, she gave me the flexibility that I needed while still keeping me heading towards my goal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And was it straight down in terms of progress, in terms of weight loss, or did you go down and then back up? Like, how was that?
The trend's been down. Like if you look at the graph, but there are spikes there. I gained 2 pounds over this weekend,
Yeah.
like, which is nothing. Now I'm able to say that it's nothing. That would have absolutely broken me before I
Yeah.
joined Driven. It would have. That is another part of my mindset that's changed. I definitely was a binge eater, or I'd become a binge eater, and I would be lying if I didn't say I was still struggling with today because I ate yesterday so badly yesterday and the day before was just a gong show. Now today I'm struggling with, okay, well, now you can't eat anything. No, that's not the healthy way to take it. Overall, my diet's going to be good, and overall I'm going to be at the deficit I need, so I don't have to worry about those days. Today is a new day, and
Yeah.
that's not something that I've been able to, like, you can tell yourself that, but until you really get it, it doesn't stick.
Yeah. And so what do you feel helped you get there? Because that's quite subtle, and it's not like a switch just goes on and
No,
forever it's changed, but
it's honestly the support group that we have in the private group is huge. It's really humbling and grounding to read other people's struggles and stories and be like, okay, I'm not the only one going through this right now, but if I stick through the process, I can do this. Look at this person had a good day this week, they're having a bad day today, next week they're going to have a good day. Yeah, it's watching other people around me doing the same thing and having the same emotions that I'm having
right.
kind of flipped that for me. Not flipped a switch, like you said, it's subtle, but yeah, I am still working through it, but the fact that I'm conscious of it makes a big difference.
Yeah. I think it's very important that we reframe what success looks like in our life, because we think, that there's a line, and that one day we get to cross that line and then forever is over, and that's
Mm-mm.
never it.
Yeah,
uh,
no.
there's it's almost like, I love the concept of the infinite game, and he just talks about how the purpose of the infinite game is just to keep playing. It's not to win. You can't win the infinite game because it never ends. So
Yeah.
the goal is to just stay in the game. That's it. And
Yeah.
then when you can assimilate that, then you can almost detach yourself from your need to see a certain end to that journey, or the milestones can be fun 100%, but it's not even about the actual milestone. It's about what work got you there.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
So let's talk about those milestones. Like, so far, how long have you been working with us?
I think I started was it June or July? I think it was July.
I think it was July.
Yeah.
And so far you're down like 30 pounds, 30 something like that?
32.
Yeah.
My husband thinks that I actually lost a little bit more weight before I bought a scale, but officially 32.
Well, something interesting there is that, as you're losing body fat and you're getting stronger, you're going to gain some muscle mass. The net on the scale right now may say 32, but I bet you it's more like 35.
Yeah.
You gain 3 of muscle or something like that.
Yeah, it's that part's been pretty crazy, and now I'm definitely focusing on the number on the scale a lot less.
Yeah.
I have gotten to that point because I mean, post-workout pump is a real deal. I was looking at my arms this morning. I'm like, yes, I like those.
I love
Got
that.
guns.
Yeah, someone was telling me. Well, I've heard this a few times. Someone maybe I don't know, caught the reflection in the mirror and they noticed a muscle for the first time, or a little more definition here or there or whatever, and they always start with like, not to be vain, and I'm like, drop that part.
You worked hard for it.
Yeah, you
enjoy
did.
It.
You did. So
yeah,
it's pretty sweet when you can see those guns. So so let's talk about goals. So you've made this progress, and of course, it's not a matter of, oh, great, I will never care about my weight again, because it's just like taking a temperature check, right?
Mm-hmm.
If it's fine, it's fine. No need to do anything. But if it's going the wrong way, that's when you adjust course, right?
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about what you see as potential goals in this new stage for you.
So what you asked earlier today about being version 2 of yourself, I have always really admired the way that they look and carry themselves, women powerlifters. They have a natural strength about them, and I love weightlifting. I love it. It's fun to me. It's a solo thing I can do by myself. I can just throw my headphones in and make myself feel like a badass. And I would love to be able to be brave enough to be like, I'm going to get on stage in front of all these people and lift some weights. And I don't care how I do, just as long as I can get into that competition, because you have to lift a certain weight to be able to get into it. That would be amazing. And then, I want to do the Ride to Conquer Cancer in 2021. I wanted to do it this year, but I was definitely not ready. It's 100 kilometers a day for 2 days.
Yeah.
So my husband can do that right now. Like, I'm not there yet.
Hey, and those are amazing goals, and they would force you. This is what is so exciting about this whole fitness journey, that you can really take it wherever you want. Those 2 goals, Ashlan, would really create sort of a new framework that now you'd need to adhere to in order to have the stamina, the strength, and the mental endurance to be able to ride for that long and that strong. Like, those are awesome goals.
Yeah, I have some work to do, but that's okay. I like it. I like getting there.
The beauty of it.
Yeah.
Like, that's literally the beauty of it. Because if you got to a point where you were like, well,
what do I do now?
I guess that's it.
Yeah.
Like, that would be scarier to me than setting goals.
Yeah. My short-term goal, though, I'll just quickly say my short-term goal, and I'm so close. End of November, be able to squat my own weight.
Yeah?
Yeah. I'm so close. I'm so close.
So wait a minute. When you started working out with us in July, you were using 8-pound weight.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep. And then
now you're working out at a gym.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right.
In Parksville. And that too, I was just like, you know what? I'm not doing this month shit. I'm gonna commit to it. I'm gonna pay for the whole year, and I just went in and paid for the whole year. Best decision I ever made. And now I go at 4:30 in the morning, which me a few months ago would have been like, no, you don't wake up at 4.
Okay, you touched on a beautiful subject, which is commitment. We've tried, I mean, obviously, Driven has been around now for almost a decade, but in that time, at the very beginning of everything, um, I thought the best thing to do. I mean, obviously, nobody knew of Driven, nobody knew of me. We had no results other than my own with my own weight loss to really show. So I just thought, well, let's make it as easy as possible for people to work with us, month to month, no commitment, blah blah blah. And you know what? Most people struggled. Most people struggled to see actual results, and I struggled with this for a while mentally because it felt like it was the nice thing to do to let everybody come and go whenever. And hey, you want to do a month? Sure, do a month. You want to do 3 months? Sure, do 3. And then I was like, all right, what are we doing here? Like,
Yeah.
And then and it's crazy because now that we've done a massive shift to just really identify, okay, look, we can help anybody, but we work best for people that are somewhere between 30 and 55. They have 1 or 2 kids, most likely. They're busy. They have a lot on their plate. And maybe they've tried exercising at one point in their lives, and they kind of lost that. And they feel like they don't have as much control over their life as they'd like to, And because of that, they're either in pain, or they don't like how they feel about themselves, or they're having to pass on certain experiences because they're just afraid that their bodies won't hold up. So the more clear we've gotten about who we are best for, we can just be like, no, this is how we work, and we can rock your world, but you have to commit. That's the key right there. So you went to the gym. So okay, so when you start working with us, you started just at home.
Yeah.
With your little
tiny dumbbell
Yeah.
weights. Yeah.
Yeah. And I assume when like COVID kind of eased off a bit and the gyms reopened, you were like, okay, screw it, I'm gonna go to the gym now.
Yeah, well, it got to the point with those little weights, like for the first part, it was dependent on my daughter's nap schedule, which she's almost 2 now, and it's not as cut and dry as it used to be. So there would be days where I wouldn't get a chance to work out. And then, it's like, okay, well, I'm not really doing anything anymore. What am I doing?
2 hours.
Yeah, this doesn't hurt. And I know from weightlifting previously that there's a good hurt that I should be feeling if I want to see the progress.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, screw it. Getting some tax money. I'm going into the gym and I'm paying for a full year, because what I would do before when I was off and on weightlifting is I'd pay for a month, see great results, and be like, I can, slack off and not pay for this month and save myself some money.
Yeah.
This is done. I have no excuse not to go. It's done for a year. I can go whenever I want.
Yeah. That's funny. I about 2 years ago, we started playing with this online training platform. The software that we use to track things and whatnot. There's a million out there, right? But at that point, COVID wasn't around, so online coaching felt like an optional, right? It was nice, but we didn't really need to do that. Anyways, we found a software that we liked, and the exact same way of thinking. I was like, you know what? If I pay for something upfront for the year, now I'm going to feel that I have to get my money's worth out of it, and I'm actually going to use it, and because of that, there will be a benefit.
Yeah.
That mentality has helped me too. So, question: what would you tell yourself if you could go back to maybe like a week to a month before you started with Driven? what would you tell yourself?
Um,
What's a piece of advice that Ashlan from back then could have used?
you don't need to punish yourself. You're not doing anything bad by blowing your calorie limit. Like, it can't be a constant thing. Otherwise, you will see the gain come back, which is where I was when I started. But you, like what Natalie posted in the group, you can't screw this up. There's
Yeah.
always, every day is a reset button. You don't need to feel so terrible because God forbid you let yourself have one cookie as opposed to the
Yeah.
5, 6 you were having before.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, definitely.
And,
Don't punish
and
yourself.
even days like that, right? I mean, like I try to be as transparent as possible with you guys, and when I demolish an entire large pizza, I don't always feel awesome the next day.
No.
I'm like, wow, why did I do that, man? Like it stopped being fun at like half a pizza.
Yeah.
I keep going, but you're right. You can either think horrible things about yourself, call yourself names, punish yourself with whatever fitness, workouts, or
Fasting.
depriving yourself of every other
Yeah.
thing. But none of that serves you.
No.
None of that's
No.
going to make your day better,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
So
definitely.
knowing what you know about Driven, at least from your experience, who would you say Driven is a good fit for?
It's a good fit for anybody that is it's not, how do I say this?
Or
I
maybe the
wasn't
other
at
way
rock
around.
bottom. I wasn't at rock bottom when I called you guys. I was at a eureka moment. It was, aha, I need a change, and I know I need a change, and it needs to be a positive change. And I don't know that for me, rock bottom was the right time to be doing it. It
Right.
was, yeah, it's good for people that need the flexibility in their life. I'm a mom. I, I live in Parksville. I don't live near you guys. So having the online option has been amazing for me. And yeah, it's a good fit for anybody that needs flexible but constant support.
Mhm. So now knowing, that we both have a bit of a trucker mouth, and everything else that you see me sharing the group. Now, from an insider's perspective, who would you say Driven is probably not a good fit for? Like, who do you think, could come in and go in the group and see what's going on in the group and then be like, yeah, no. Like,
um, Anybody that's afraid of or triggered by real talk about unhealthy relationships with food, because
yeah.
that is something that gets brought up a lot, because the group is a great way to get that support for those
Mhm.
habits. People that don't like people that swear, which is fine
What?
for me because I swear a shit ton.
Oh, yeah. People that don't like swearing. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And people that aren't, you're not going to get any value out of it if you just do a month or 3 weeks or something like that. Like, for the 3 weeks that you're doing it, you'll see progress. But if you're not really, going to try and make this part of your lifestyle, I don't see the
Yeah.
point.
We talk about this often. Anybody can lose weight, anybody can get stronger, anybody can do anything for some time. But it's not really about that. It's about who you become in the process, because you become a different version of who you were. And it
Definitely.
just so happens to be that next version of you has different habits and thinks about things in a different way, and doesn't beat herself down too bad if you if you crushed the 10 cookies. You just get
Yeah.
right back up, right?
Yeah.
So it's less of a victim mentality and more of a, what am I going to do with this?
Yeah. Yeah.
Is it in my hands? So that's awesome. What would you say is either like the top one or two lessons that you've learned in this short amount of time? Because it's really been only like
Yeah. A few
4 months.
months. Yeah. The big one is don't be afraid to look for help. It it does sometimes get away from you and feeling overwhelmed when you look at yourself in the mirror and you don't recognize that person because you've put on so much weight. Like for me, it was a very short amount of time that I put on my extra weight. And I didn't know who I was when I looked in the mirror. Don't be afraid to get help. It's, there's no shame in that. There's no shame in needing that extra push every day or every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And the other piece of advice, or the other biggest thing that I've learned is, if you can push the reset button at the beginning of every day. Now, that's another thing that, like, you kind of heard it before, but for some reason, the way that we talk about it in the group made it stick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You mentioned shame previously, and about needing that push, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this is something that I hear a lot too. People saying, I shouldn't need help, right? I shouldn't need this, right? And I'm like, well, look, I don't know, but I do better because I do better and I have a coach.
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm going to make certain decisions with my food, I know he's going to check on me.
Yeah.
And I know that he's going to be like, okay, interesting choices. Here's what you told me you wanted. Here's what you're doing. Is there something that I'm missing, or is it time to reevaluate some of those goals?
Yeah.
And so it's not about getting in trouble.
Yeah.
It's about just really kind of like putting your money where your mouth is. Like if you say you want something, then great. Now here's somebody that is whose job is to help you get there. I
think that a big thing is, like, when you have that outside person who's objectively looking at just the data you're providing them, because that's what Natalie does for me. She looks at what I put down in my tracker and what I put down in my accountability.
Yep.
When you have somebody objectively looking at that data, they're able to ask questions that you probably would never ask yourself, and that will help you in the long term with your overall thinking. Just, why? Okay, well, why are you doing X, Y, Z when you want ABC?
Yeah.
It's things that you would never even think of. And then also there shouldn't be, it's the same thing with mental health. I think a lot of people think, oh, I shouldn't need the help. I shouldn't need the help. You do need the help, and there shouldn't be any shame in that. There's nothing wrong. We're social beings. There's nothing wrong with relying on other people to get to where you need to go.
Well, the way I see it is what do I rather be?
Mm-hmm.
Do I rather get what I want out of life, and maybe that involves getting some help, some support, or do I rather not ask for help and seem, strong and self-sufficient, but not ever get what I want?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
No, I very much rather, if somebody was to say, holy crap, Miguel, what? Miguel has like 4 different coaches, 1 for each thing. Wow, he needs a lot of help. I would rather people say that about me than the opposite, right?
My thinking on that is, wow, he's so brave to have reached out for all the areas he needs help in.
Yeah.
Like, it's scarier to share it than it is to keep it to yourself.
Yes, it is. It is. I was doing some yoga, and this is a few years ago. I love it. I just don't really make time for it. But the yoga instructor had some sort of meditation cards that she would pull out, and she would read a quote, and then we would do a pose. And this one just stuck with me. It was, I am vulnerable. I am strong. I am vulnerable because I am strong. And I was like, oh my God, yes. There is strength in opening up. There is strength and courage in asking for help. We can pretend all we want, but at the end of the day, it takes strength and courage to say, hey, I need some help. I feel lost, or I messed up yesterday and I'm back up today. Like,
even if you are yourself a personal trainer, Olympic athletes have coaches. You don't go and get a mortgage you don't go and just sign up for a mortgage on your own. You go to a financial advisor. You
Right.
don't buy a house. Well, I mean, some people do, but you don't buy a house just person to person because you don't know the laws. It's so much better to have the realtor coaching you
Yeah.
through what you're doing. And
Can you do it on your own? Sure.
yes, you can. But
Yeah.
if you want to get to, like you've said in the past, if you want to get to that next level, it's just one, easier. It's the easier way of doing things. And two, more successful to have that person in your corner. You might have I'm very lucky to have an excellent support system, but you might have less than ideal relationships around you. At least your coach is somebody that you can count on to give you the right advice, the correct advice.
And sometimes that's tough to hear. And see, that's the reason why it's so difficult for your partner, for your friends, to your fam, to your mom, to be your accountability buddy.
Mm-hmm.
That just never, in my experience, it just never works.
Try getting your husband to teach you how to do something, and then get somebody else that you don't know.
Are you kidding me?
Easier.
Yeah, the smartest thing a husband can do is just don't even take that on, man.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna end up in more trouble than
I never understood that couples that live together stay together thing. I don't think that that's true.
Nah. I mean, like, look at Katie and I. I mean,
yeah,
we both are great coaches, and we've helped a lot of people. But we just, so I think it's because of that. We've also tried. We've tried 2 or 3 times to coach each other, and it just never worked.
No, because you have that personal dynamic, and you're able to switch that off when it's somebody that you're not that super close with.
Yeah.
It's definitely better to get outside help.
Yeah, no. You want to, as the partner, you want to be there just for support, but you should never say, if there's any guys listening, you should never say, "Are you sure you should eat that, babe?"
No.
Never, ever. Don't say that. Not gonna end up well.
My husband would take me on bike rides and be like, "Come on, let's just get up this hill." And I'm like, "Fucking hate you the whole time." I go for a bike ride with my best friend, and even just that one, like, my best friend and I don't live together. One small removal. She's like, "Come on, we can do this hill." And I'm like, "Fuck yeah, we can."
Yeah. Just don't even. That's awesome, Ashlan. So, as the more you've learned about Driven, and it's crazy that it's been such a short amount of time. That really does blow my mind. But we have this Driven Warrior is what we call ourselves, right? And that's the name of the podcast. Now, for you, when you think about the word driven, and when you think of what being a warrior driven, being a driven warrior means, what comes to mind?
Consistency. It's having the mindset that even if, a good example for me is I sometimes lift so heavy some days that I can't do my hit the next day. I'm supposed to do weights then hit, then weights then hit.
Mm-hmm.
But that old me would have said, okay, well, I'm taking 3 days off, and then 3 days becomes 4 days becomes 5. Driven warrior me is like, okay, I can give myself this break, but I'm back at it the next day. And if I want to get to where I'm going, I have to be consistent. And not relying on willpower. Willpower is not your friend. It's not your friend.
I love that because it goes so against the grain. Don't rely on willpower. Like, in fact, usually there has to be a little bit of an explanation for that, because people are like, "What? Wait, what? I thought that was the one thing that I just didn't have, and that's why I was not succeeding." So before we wrap this up, tell me. So if one of our listeners is like, "Wait, what? She said don't rely on willpower. Then what am I supposed to do?" What would you say?
I would say trust in yourself that even on your bad days, you can do this. You can do this. You can get through it. like, I hate to beat a dead horse, but consistency. You have to be consistent. You're not going to see the results that you want every week, and that's okay. You're not going to see the scale move down every time you step on it, and that's okay. If you are consistent and you don't, because willpower does this all the time,
Right.
and the lows get lower every time you get a little bit higher. And if instead you're like this, you are eventually going to get to where you want to be. I promise you. I promise you. I never would have thought I would have been here a few months ago, and here I am. I'm so happy with the results that I've seen in, as you've said, a short amount of time.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Oh, that is so awesome. You know what? I just got some coach vibes from you. All right. So, and as you know, the majority of our coaches started as clients. So,
Yep.
I mean, case in point,
we could talk.
Natalie, your coach was a client first, right?
Yeah. That was another thing that I really liked. It's like, oh, she's been through this. She's gotten there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So awesome. Thank you so very much for sharing. This is always a little bit scary at the beginning, but you did so well. And
thank you.
Again, by sharing your experience and the ups and downs and the lessons, it really helps everybody that may be watching or listening.
I hope so. This has been very cathartic for me.
And then you know what? And then this gets to live on forever and ever, and you can always just go back. And sometimes it's not about having our minds blown by this secret piece of missing wisdom that your coach just came and like da-da. It's more about reminding yourself of why you do it, what's on the other side of that pain or that struggle that makes the whole climb worth it. And so, you having this to come back to and be like, wait a minute, this has been less than 6 months, like July, August, September, October, 3 months.
Yeah.
And what a difference it's made. I mean, it's been your hard work and your consistency and your dedication, but super, super proud of you. And really, really thankful that you decided to share this with us today. So thank you very much. Anything else you'd like to say? Anything that you'd like to?
Well, the last thing that I'll say is, if you think about this as just fitness and just getting your diet in check, you are in for a pleasant surprise at the end, because you will, like, I've applied for school, which I was terrified to do. I went out and got a part-time job that I didn't really have to, but I'm like, I need to be out in front of people again, and I need to live my own life a little bit. Like, it will change every aspect of your life. It will. And I almost guarantee you it'll be for the better. So do it. Just do it.
That's a really good point. Yeah. Awesome, Ashlan. Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody, for watching. And if this is your first time, consider subscribing to the podcast, because that way you don't miss the next one. Yeah. Ashlan, you rock. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. See you. Stay driven. Bye. And I'll see you soon.
Bye. Bye-bye.